welcome back to Pair of Dinks. This is episode 90, October 2025. Now, when we started doing this podcast, we started in May 2022. Hooray! We're not even at 100, 3 years later. However, I do want to say we did a really good job that first year, sticking to it pretty well. And then we took a year off. An year and a half, maybe.
Yeah, it's the long game.
Yeah. And when we first started, we still don't know what we're doing, but I think we've shifted our structure a little bit too. And I think we were overachieving with the idea of putting out an episode every single week. And then we smartened up and changed it to bi-weekly. And, now we're kind of trying to stay bi-weekly, but if we miss it, it's no big deal. I think we're just trying not to go past like leaving a whole month. At least that's my goal in my mind.
Yeah. I think my mind is I always tend to get into something, and then because I work for myself and in a creative field, it's always like this drive to overproduce something and to turn it into like a production. Even if it's not making money, there's something about me that's like, oh, I want to do it like it's a show, like it's a thing, like it's a big thing. And I like getting to this point now where I feel like I don't care as much about that.
Yeah.
It's just like fun to sit down and chat.
Yeah. And honestly, this kind of, I guess, stems from way back when we first met too. And we were living in the Langley apartment and we started Counter Conversations, which was such a fun idea. And it was actually just us taking videos of ourselves eating pickles and talking about them pretty much. But we should do some more of those.
Yeah.
Like to make them short, just as some clips for YouTube and stuff, so people can see us. And
with some fun premises. Again, I find myself getting very influenced by whatever other people are doing, and it's like, oh, we should do a trend thing like that. But I think that's a horrible way to come up with ideas.
Yeah.
Because it's not very organic. I'm not doing it because that's something I'm interesed in.
I
genuinely want to do.
I don't like it either because that's not us. We're not trendy people. When I see trends, I'm just like, ick. Like, I'm getting so annoyed of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And I think that's my push back against a lot of that stuff. And like, I'll spend some time maybe brainstorming what we could do. And then I just realize I don't actually care about this.
Yeah.
And that's not interesting to me.
Yeah. So unless something is like super duper, I don't know, outstanding, then maybe we do it. But yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I've also felt this kick over the last couple of years of like wanting to do stuff and like do stuff to put out and share with people. So whatever that is in video or podcast form or whatever. And then this other side of me that really enjoys just living life. Because so much of my work is documenting life, capturing life, or
other
like
people's lives.
Yeah, or like capturing a boring event, but shaping it to look like it was the coolest thing that everyone was at. And like when you do that a lot, you kind of enjoy the mundane, boring flatness of normalcy and like not events,
Mm-hmm.
Like going grocery shopping. Fucking love it.
That's good because
sitting alone in a restaurant.
Yeah, I have had no like. I usually like going grocery shopping too, but I haven't done that in a while. You've done a good job picking up that slack of mine.
Yeah, it's enjoyable because like I don't know.
Put some headphones in, listen to a podcast or music, and just like jam your way through the grocery store.
Not even anymore.
Oh, that's what I do. I can't. I don't want to. Yeah.
I've had this new thing I'm trying to do. Sorry, did I cut you off?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go. Jake does that a lot. If you've never.
I caught myself though.
Yeah. No, I forget.
You.
Oh yeah. It was just like I just want to kind of like breeze through. Like I'm not even there, and I don't want any attention. I don't want people talking to me or whatever. And because that's why I'll go through the self checkout with a full cart. I hate the people that do that. Okay, I don't have a full cart because we're not that crazy, but you know,
Yeah.
that's all I was going to say.
It says 14 items, but you definitely have 25.
It's not even like they botched that rule.
I know. It's
Anyways,
funny.
what were you saying?
I was going to say, I've been trying this new thing of like just not listening to stuff. I did this the other day driving somewhere because, I have such a habit of put on a podcast or put on a playlist and listen to things. And I don't know, maybe it's my algorithm or lack of exploration, but I feel like my music playlist has just felt like a lot of the same. And even when it suggests new stuff, I'm like, oh, you sound like that other thing. It's not
I think
new.
we were mentioning this on the solo episode you did.
Maybe.
But you can, yeah.
Sorry if I'm regurgitating.
No, that's okay. Keep going.
Yeah, we're just listen to nothing. Like by nothing, I mean just the sounds. Like if I'm driving somewhere, don't turn on the radio. Don't play anything. Just drive. And like that's it. Or go to the grocery store. It's tempting. I want to like put in headphones and isolate myself and like have a different experience. But then I'm like, no, I'm just gonna listen to the sounds around me again. Be here in the thing. Go for a walk down by the river. Yeah, don't put anything in. Just listen. I think it's helpful because I also am a bit of a people watcher. Natural for someone behind a camera, right? Like you're always just observing people and what they do. So it's kind of fun to add the natural sound instead of listening from what would I say? Like listening with the soundtrack or a weird commentary, if you're like listening to the wrong podcast. And
so now you're just
fucks with the emotion,
listening in on people's conversations.
But they're in public.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It just, yeah, even being at home, like a lot of times I would find myself, if I'm home alone here, filling the time or filling the space with noise of podcasts or music, and just to try to like, I don't know, feel like I'm not just sitting here alone doing my work. But I'm like, well, what's wrong with that?
Do you miss the sounds of the screaming Karens on my YouTube when I'm playing video games?
No. That's one I wish I could just block forever. I don't like that. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I've been trying to explore that more. And I'm not super great at it. I still do fill a lot of time with podcasts and nonsense. But I think it's kind of like when people are in early stages of meditation and you like can't quiet your head and you're kind of always looking for a distraction. I think it's a similar thing to that where I'm dabbling with it. And then it's like, it's too quiet. It's too whatever. Okay, I got to turn something on now. But cool, got in 30 minutes of that silence today.
Yeah, I don't really like silence.
Well, it's not really silent either. It's
yeah, okay.
There's always stuff. Like that's what was interesting listening to it, because I think that when I start too, like, oh, I'm just going to listen to nothing. And then I go, well, it's not nothing. There's stuff happening. It's just not music or a podcast or like something I'm designed to listen to. It's just the natural noise of the environment.
Yeah. You know what's funny? At night, well, especially if the cat's water fountain is a bit low, like that fucking sound drives me insane if I'm trying to sleep. It's because usually I'll play like wave sounds, creek sounds, or cricket sounds kind of thing. And if I decide, oh, I'll try to get myself out of this habit and not listen to anything, I can hear the cat water fountain and I'm just like, what the fuck? And you'd think that should be, the kind of sound that I'd be okay to fall asleep to.
It's a little babbling brook.
But it apparently not.
Nope.
It's like, fill me.
Your cats are dehydrated. Their kidneys are shriveling.
Yeah, it's super annoying. Or like now you bought the cats this stupid mouse on a string that goes and
Honey
then
loves it.
Yeah, she likes to play with it at 6 o'clock in the morning on a weekday when I gotta get up at 7:30.
Yeah.
Fucking annoying.
She's awesomely annoying.
She's awesomely annoying?
Yeah.
That's what you say right now with her kicked out of this room.
Yeah.
She almost broke Jake's camera today.
No.
Well, it looked like it was about to, smash.
It was all fine.
Okay.
That's why I'm trying to get her to not come up on the desk, because there's shit here that
keep
she could fuck
trying.
up.
Anyways, yeah, so noises and sounds. Well, let's change this tune a little bit, and actually it's kind of on the same sort of wavelength. We thought we'd talk about books today.
Books. Let's talk about banned books.
Banned books?
Yeah, books you're not supposed to read.
Oh, banned. Sorry, I thought you meant like bands. And I was
No.
like, well,
banned.
I mean, I feel like
the
there's
ones
a few
the government
things,
say are banned.
Yeah, a few things. A few things we could talk about. We've been reading a lot lately.
You've been reading more.
No, you were reading a book a month. I think you're thinking I just read more because I finished 2 in a week.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, and I stayed up I think I was up until like 12:45.
Yeah.
The other night.
You were up super late.
But I was so into it, and I was like, I have to finish it because I don't want to leave 12 pages or a little bit more than that. It was just like, I just got to finish it.
What's the book about?
So the very last book that I finished it in 2 days. So it's by Lisa Jewell, a new author, and that to me, and it's called None of This Is True, which was funny because when you picked it up, you're like, none of this is true.
Yeah, she gave away the whole book.
But not really, because it was really interesting the way that it ended. But it was basically about like, so there's this woman who has a podcast about other women who have owned like their empowerment, or if that makes sense, like have gone through struggles or whatever and are successful in different kind of ways. And then it's in 2 different views. So it's that woman and then another woman that she meets in a restaurant, and they share the same birthday. So they're called they're like birthday twins. So they were born on the same, they have the same birthday. They are the same age, and they were born in the same hospital. So it kind of starts off like that. We actually start in the view of the Josie, the other lady, not the podcast lady. And then they start bumping into each other, and Josie asks Alex to basically do a podcast about her and how her life is changing. And it was really cool because the way that it was written was like the different points of views, but in between as well. How do I explain this? It's like her podcast, she decides like, oh, she's done with the Empowering Women podcast and wants to do something called Hi, I'm Your Birthday Twin. And that was going to be the one about Josie. And in between bits and pieces of the book are segments of what is actually a Netflix documentary called The Same Thing, and kind of like giving clues about what happened throughout their time together. It's a thriller, mystery, crime kind of book. Those are what I'm into. And it just periodically gets like crazier and crazier, like the shit that Josie says and like does, and what is believable and what is not, and like what's going on with her family and also what's going on with Alex's family. And it's super wild, and the way that it's written is really, really cool. And that's why I really got into it, because I was like, because you start to think like, this is, oh my God, this is where it's leading to. This is what it could be, blah, blah, blah. So like, I feel like I'm quite in tune with stuff like that because I've listened and I've watched a lot of it, but there's always something that you're going to miss, right? You're going to misinterpret at the same time. So while I felt like eventually I was on the right page, once you get closer to some of the later bits, it's a twist, which I love. I love the twists because it's like, oh, I know. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, I didn't know. And I don't want to give it away, of course, but it was cool. So it was just something that I was really hooked on. And because I had read it like all day one day and then started it back up the next day, I was like, I'm so close to the end now. I mean, I don't know. It's like, fuck, I don't know, like 300 something pages. It's not super big, but it's big enough that take some time, right? That I was just like, I'll finish it. And then at the end, I was like, okay, well, part of that we knew was going to happen, and then part of it was like, that's cool. And then it's also questioning, like, I'm sorry, I'm saying like all the time, but sorry, not that that's cool, but it was, oh, okay, I wasn't expecting that particular piece to be what it was. And then because there were so many lies and shit going on, but there were some truths, it's also you're questioning things at the very end too.
Mm-hmm.
So
the title is a little ironic.
Yeah. There's truths. There's a lot of truths within like a big lie. Or
But I guess the series of untruths makes you question the entire story. Does that make sense? You know, like if somebody tells you a story and most of it's true, or the general gist of it's true, but they lie about a bunch of little details.
Yeah.
Then you begin to question the whole story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And it was just, some people are just fucking crazy. And it's so cool that an author can tap into that psycho thought process. You know what I mean? And also I was also hooked because I was like, what the fuck is this about? In some aspects of it, like, what the hell? Why is that person like this? Again, without giving anything away, what the fuck is that about? So I needed to get further into, because it's not always linear, especially when you're throwing in those bits about the documentary and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was just really cool. And so that one, my cousin Caitlin was up here visiting, and we have a really, really cool bookstore here in Calgary in Inglewood called Fair's Fair.
Fair's Fair.
Fair's Fair, and it's basically like a book thrift store, right? It's got books and hold on a second. It's got books and movies and board games and puzzles and go ahead.
I was gonna say it's kind of a book trader. Yeah, like a little trade shop, because you can bring in books and they'll give you credit, and then you can use that towards buying other books. And I think it's all used books. I don't know that they bring in anything new. So that's what's fun about it. You can kind of, it's like a library, but you pay and trade.
Yeah, so we went there, and she's really into reading, so we spent, I don't know, maybe like an hour there, kind of like perusing, because it's got everything, literally everything: travel, fiction, horror, mystery, Canadian history, this, that, and whatever. And they're great prices too. So whoever in Calgary is like, you should check this out. And I haven't been there in a while. You go there quite often. And I grabbed 4 books because I was like, all right, going into November, December, wanting to just read and try to get away from the TV more. And so that, but I was having a hard time trying to find out what kind of books to read, because when I don't know, I know what I like, but I don't know authors. So what I did was, I have an author that I love. I've read all of her books, maybe 2 out of, I don't know how many books she's made. I'll just say 10. Like 2 out of 10 I haven't really liked, but hers is the same thing, like mystery, thriller, crime, and twisty. Like, I love that kind of shit. So I really liked a lot of her books. So I just went on Google and was like, who's the similar to this books to read if you like this author. Her name is Mary Kubica. And so a bunch of people came up and popular books of theirs, and I was like really lucky to find 3 of them. There were a ton more, but I couldn't find. So I was gonna It's probably a good thing because I probably would have ended up leaving there with 10 books, which is not a bad thing, but I need to like pull it back a bit. So I found 3 books out of the list, and at least if it wasn't the title of the book, it was the author of the book. And then I also grabbed one from that I read a long time ago, a series called The Mortal Instruments. And that was one that I was reading a long time ago before I met you. And I had almost a whole series. They had, I don't know how many, 5 Mortal Instruments, and then like 3 prequels, a couple in between of those. And then they had sequels, and I only got halfway through the sequels. And then I moved out of my ex's house and I gave all of them to my cousin without finishing the entire D of the World series. And I was introducing that to Caitlin, and she got 3 of them. And I was like, humming and hawing. Because also, I wanted to, if I'm going to collect them again, I want them in the same style of book, like your paperback or your hardcover. And they had a bunch of different ones. And she grabbed the one paperback that I saw, and then later I saw another one displayed somewhere else. So I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna get it and I'll read it again. So that one I'm waiting till last to read, because I know if I start it, then I'm gonna have to read all of them in sequence. It's like watching movies. I'm not like you. I like to watch things in order. So yeah, but that's the last one I read. And then I'll just mention the one that I read before that, because I did it in like the week, right? So I was away dog sitting, and I had just finished a really scary book that, I mean, scary by I didn't realize what it was going to be, and we pre-ordered it and it turned out to be something fucking fucked up. We can talk about that a bit later, but I had just finished reading that and I was like, oh, I need a new book. So I went to Indigo, where they have the books. Indigo Chapters.
Where the books go.
Yeah, and I grabbed one I still didn't know what I was looking for, and Mary Cubica hasn't put anything else out new that I don't have. And but there was a book by Ashley Flowers on there, and Ashley Flowers is a podcaster from the podcast Crime Junkies that I got into a couple years ago. And true crime podcast, obviously, murders, mysteries, and missing people. And so I know her voice, and she's written, I think, 2 books only now, but she had a book out, and I had no idea what the price was. Little did I know you could just open the cover up and it was inside. So I go to I don't normally spend a ton of money on books, but I go to the counter and it's like $40 something. And I was like, but I bought it because I was at the counter. I was like, fuck it, whatever.
That's how they get you.
Yeah, I like Ashley Flowers, and I was very curious. She's very smart, very intuitive, and like she's in the crime world actually helping, So I thought, oh, let's see how she writes. And her book is called The Missing Half. And it's about a sister whose sister went missing, and then another sister whose sister went missing around the same time, and they come together and they try, like years later, to try to figure out what happened to their sisters. And then it just, I don't know, it's like, part of it was like, like not too, but I also enjoyed it. I think I mostly actually really loved the ending the most, because it was also one of those where it's like, well, it could have been this person, could have been that person, this is blah, 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 this could have happened. And then the ending came and I was like, never actually had that on the radar at all. And I was really, and the way that it ended was also just like, well, and this isn't giving it away, but I love horror and I love gore, and not like there's gore in here, but there's like obviously something to do with missing people, possibly murders and stuff. And the way that it ended was really fun. And I really enjoyed that part of it. And that probably only took me a few days to read too. But yeah, so those were the last 2 that I read the past week and a half, and I haven't jumped into the next one yet because lots of shit has been happening, and I needed to take some time to play Disney Dreamlight Valley.
As one does.
Anyways, but you've been reading a lot of books too. When did you start you wanted to read a book a month? Was that August or... Because you've read a few.
I didn't really start a book a month. As I finished books through September, I just started posting like book X of this month, book X of this month. Yeah, I haven't finished anything for October, actually. I'm just slowly working my way through some, oh man, I can't, Dostoevsky? Russian author? I don't know. I'm in this kick now where there's a lot of classics or like, big literary names that heavy academics throw around, and I'm trying to read some of those just to figure out what the hell are these people talking about and how is it relevant anymore? Because it's a lot of old literature. That was, again, my inspiration for Albert Camus in The Myth of Sisyphus, because it's on there, like poet laureate or Nobel laureate winner, a bunch of awards, hugely lauded through everything. And I'm like, okay, well, what the hell is this book about? And I found myself a bit disappointed reading through it, because the whole premise of the book centers around Albert Camus contemplating the, what do you call it? The like ethics of suicide, if you will. Like, is it okay or not okay to kill yourself? And where does that come from? And it just kind of divulged into a lot of this other, just, I don't know, almost psychoanalysis kind of stuff. And then comes around to finally like the title, which is a Greek myth of Sisyphus. I can't remember how the guy ended up down in Hades, but somehow, the guy dies, he's down in Hades, but he begs with the gods to let him go back up to Earth to like extract revenge on people or finish some specific business.
Extract. Exact revenge. I'm gonna extract your revenge.
I don't know, maybe. Depends what you're extracting. But anyways, yeah, so it goes up to like exact his revenge or finish whatever this business is, but he gets back up to Earth and he falls in love with being human and being back on Earth, and so he defies the like generosity of the gods. Right, and he stays on Earth for like 3 years or something, way beyond whatever he was granted permission to do. So as a punishment, they, of course, drag him back down, and then he has to spend eternity pushing this giant rock up a hill, and then it rolls back down to the bottom, and the next day he has to wake up and push this rock back up a hill.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what the fuck? Like, it felt like kind of irony, because I was like, that's how reading this book felt. Like, I'm pushing a fucking rock up a hill every page, and then it falls back down, and then I have to push it back up a hill the next page, and then it falls back down. I'm like, you gave me the experience that you were just
that's
blabbering about.
Yeah. Well, you finished it.
I did. I was determined. Again,
it's not that big either. It's pretty thin, isn't it?
Yeah, but even...
No, but I know.
So thin, it took me like 2 years to finish, get around to it, and like fucking muster up the tolerance. I don't know, like so much of it just, I don't know, maybe I'm not smart enough for that, but I just felt like, what are you talking about, dude? Like ramblings, like.
All right, so I shouldn't read it. I shouldn't give that a try.
No, I feel like, yeah, if anything out of that, it's like the last chapter of that book is a worthwhile essay. But everything leading up to it, I just felt like, I don't know, maybe keep that in your journal and just refine it or something.
That's
like
funny.
I don't know. I personally didn't understand all the praise and the whatevers. And I know he'd written a bunch of other stuff. So maybe it's one of those, like when a actor gets an Academy Award for a performance that wasn't that great, but they've done a bunch of others that are phenomenal. So you're like, okay, well, like, you've earned an award. Maybe it's not for this, but like you've done a lot of other shit. I haven't read his other shit, but I feel like maybe that's why that one got so lauded. I don't know.
Okay.
Or maybe the times were different.
When did that come out?
Man, don't quote me, but I want to say it was like between the 40s and 60s or something. Like it's
okay.
Yeah, I don't know. That's where a lot of the stuff I've been reading has been in that era of time, like 1950s or earlier. Just because that's where I don't know, some of those big literary giant, like The Catcher in the Rye, or a lot of Hemingway, or F. Scott Fitzgerald, and a lot of these big Western names that everyone's like, oh, they were the people, or like Jack Kerouac and the Beat People, and I'm like, okay, let's see what's there, what's great about it. Yeah, because right after that, I jumped into Hemingway, reading his "The Sun Also Rises." No, yeah, "The Sun Also Rises." Anyways, it's about him and a bunch of friends getting literally plastered everywhere they go. They're living in Paris, and they all decide to go on this holiday down for the fucking bullfights in Spain. And literally the whole time, I was almost getting a like contact hangover, because just the amount of drinking everyone was doing throughout that book, I'm like, oh my God.
That's so funny.
Like, no wonder the whole social dynamic here is just fucking insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole premise was essentially that, Hemingway is in love with this one gal, but she's engaged to this like broke duke of something in England, and like everyone who meets this gal seems to fall in love with her, and she just kind of like sleeps with everybody, even though she's engaged to this guy, but like really she's in love with the Hemingway like narrator main guy, and he keeps going and like cleaning up her messes and
put himself in there as a character?
No, not himself. I can't remember the character's name, but like it's told
type.
from like a first person point of view.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, okay, well, it's like, I don't know, and I think a lot of his stuff was based
his life
off his life experiences, because I know he wrote a lot of war stories based off his time being in war and the things that he was into. Big game hunting, fishing, I don't know. So anyways, I know he writes off a lot of personal stuff. I have no reason to disbelieve that this wasn't some kind of a social scenario he was into. Probably didn't happen like he wrote it in the book, but I'm sure he took that inspiration and extracted it into this whole big thing. But I was just like, yeah, this totally sounds like a bunch of just like fucked up partiers going across Europe. I don't know. It was silly. I don't know. I just, everywhere everybody went. They even went fishing in the woods, and he's like, we brought 3 bottles of wine and chilled them in the fucking river, and then drank one, passed out in the forest, woke up and had lunch, drank the other bottle.
Oh my God.
And then we sip on the 3rd bottle while we walk back to the hotel, where we fix brandies and we drink other bottles of liquor through the night. And then we all wake up at noon the next day and blah. And I was just like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
what is this even about?
Every day. It was just the same over and over. And I just started, chuckling. Like, oh my God, this book is fucking nuts. Like,
I feel like you should go from that book to reading one of the other books that you have, where it's called Alcohol is Fire or something like that.
Yeah, that one's depressing.
No, I know. But isn't that funny, where you go from like this semi-fiction kind of book that was made in the whatever, what year do you think that was? Yearish.
Man, I don't know, between 30s and 50s.
30s and 50s, where they're like just drinking, and then there's this, it's called Firewater. Yeah, that other book where it's called Firewater, and it's like, you shouldn't drink because I don't know what it's actually, I don't know what it's.
It's literally just it's a book about like why you shouldn't drink.
Yeah.
And it was written by an indigenous man, and he's just like recounting stories of how it's destroyed his community and all the people around him. And I'm like, yeah, that's horrific.
Did you ever finish it?
Haven't finished it, but I made my way like halfway through it. But yeah, again, because it made me depressed. I'm just like,
Yeah, I don't think I
this
could read
is
it.
really sad. And it's not a, I think, yeah, it's not fiction.
No, no,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. I know it's not. I know it's one
That's
of.
what makes it even
I
sadder.
know.
Like Hemingway is kind of tolerable because like that was his lifestyle, but at the same time, the story is fiction.
The story is fiction, but yeah, just the time as well as that's what they did too.
Yeah.
Lifestyle and all
Yeah.
that.
It's like everywhere they go, it was kind of hilarious. Like every time somebody new shows up or whatever, it's like, oh, have a drink. Oh, I'm bored here. Let's go over to this cafe and have a drink. Let's like God, it's like a fucking tourism ad. Just go here and have a drink. Go there and have a drink.
Well,
Go up there, have a drink. Go back there.
I know it's not the same, but there like that happens a lot too in The Catcher in the Rye.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about like why that came into the house?
Yeah, that came in for the same reason of just looking at lists of classic, like highly appraised literature.
That was banned.
Yeah, that one specifically was banned, but it's also something now that people praise and hold. Like, oh my God, The Catcher in the Rye. Like, it's such a great blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't know. No, I kind of disagree. My hot take on classic literature, put classic in air quotes, because I was like, it's kind of a dull story, kind of a sad story.
So you read it. You brought it in the house. I heard the title. I've never known what it was about, and it has not. Well, yeah, it's come up in my life, but again, never knew anything about it. You brought it in the house, being like, "This is a banned book. I want to read it," and then I was like, "Well, fuck, I'll read it after you." So I did, but I want to know like your whole take on it, and yeah, I want to know your take, and then I'll follow up
Um,
if you can remember it.
yeah, no, I remember it. My whole take is that I think it came out in a time when society was very polite and never talked about trouble. And you weren't supposed to share stories of people, or like troubled people were not supposed to be the, like main person. You were always supposed to have this heroic, good person who was fighting bad things. That's what the story was about. And so because the story focuses on like a troubled youth and his, what's the word?
Curiosity?
Like beyond his just like, man,
Natural,
it's
normal
departure from
path?
society, but I want to say he does it with this attitude of it's like a fuck you
Defiant?
to yeah, his like defiant departure from polite society and his exploitations of the world of lust and pleasure at a young age and neglecting his social duty and responsibility to
You say it in a
become
way.
educated and to contribute something great to the world.
So you say it in a way where like if people have never actually read it, that oh my god, that could sound bad. But really it's like take what like this is super it's very mild in our day and age.
Yeah.
I like the way that you've explained it, but I don't want people to think that it was like, whoa. It's really not. It's like what people do now.
Yeah, and that's what I mean by it, where I'm like, at the time, these things were provocative because you didn't speak or do those things. Like he would be the child you kind of were like, we don't know what happened to him. He disappeared one night or something if you were polite,
Went to boarding school.
Yeah, he was sent off to live with his aunt and uncle, but like, no,
Yeah.
dude, he ran away and he's in New York getting drunk, banging hookers.
Yeah.
Like that's what's going on.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what's interesting to me about reading them right now and understanding, I guess, how far we've come in our culture from that time frame. And I guess the one positive thing is that it makes me appreciate how open and like, yeah, I guess how open we've become as a culture in sharing that honesty with each other. Of like, hey, this is what is happening to my kid, or this is what they've done, where they're at and what they're doing. Yeah.
Well, at that time too, like nobody really cared for what their kid was really doing.
Yeah, the care was more about the appearance and what it reflected upon the family. It was kind of a selfish interest that people
Exactly.
had.
Yeah.
They didn't really, I'm sure they cared for their kid, but they were kind of limited in what they could do, because if you were to actually try to help your kid or to try to understand what, they were struggling with, meant you had to admit that like your kid didn't fit in, or they were doing things that were socially inappropriate. And then people might kind of, push you away and be like, ooh, that family has problems and we don't associate with that
Social
family.
status representation.
Yeah. So I guess it helps me understand that and appreciate how far we've moved away from that in our culture.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe we still.
It depends. It really
I
depends.
guess I was like,
I mean,
suddenly seeing there's ways we do that now, but it's just a different
I
thing.
mean,
Like
yeah.
it's more socially acceptable if your kid ran off and was doing drugs and banging hookers.
One out of three. 1 out of 3.
So like, I don't know. It's changed, but yeah, I don't know. I guess just for all the hype of it, maybe I just expected a more modern tale, but it helped me understand, I guess, that dynamic of culture.
So for me, when I read it, I was just like confused by why it was banned, because I wasn't really thinking about the times. I feel like the way you explained it was true, but it was just so mild in my mind, like very, very mild, that I just had a hard time. It was boring. It was an interesting-ish story, but it was boring at the same time, and it was just kind of like all throughout the whole way it was boring.
Mm-hmm.
And it ended boring, and like there was no substance to it in my eyes. But and I read it a while ago, so I'm only going off by feeling right now because I can't remember exactly everything, and it's probably because not a lot happened, really. Not a lot happened within this story.
Yeah.
They smoked. I remember them smoking a lot, or him smoking a lot,
Yeah.
and him drinking a lot, and him like going out and meeting people, and then like nothing really happened.
Important to mention that he was underage drinking.
Yeah, okay.
That was
but
super bad
wait,
at the time.
Was it underage
Yeah.
drinking at the time?
Yeah, because remember he had to like fake his way into the club in New York to be able to get drinks.
No, I don't remember. I thought, yeah. Well, yeah, and he did get sent. Did he get sent off to school, or was he, right? Like
I believe he was sent off to a school.
Yeah.
I think it was like a college or a boarding school. I can't remember that distinction, but they had like a dry campus, so you weren't supposed to drink there. Gets in trouble for drinking.
Yeah. Can we talk about the title for a second, because the title has nothing to do with this story exactly.
Man,
because
it's
it confused the shit out of me though when I read it, because I was like, well, first of all, I don't know what rye exactly means within the title besides drinking. And if I remember correctly, it's sort of like a game of tag, kind of. You don't even remember? Yeah, it is mentioned. It is mentioned briefly. I really don't want to say the wrong thing, and I feel like I should probably look this up, but
yeah, don't say the wrong thing.
I just so I'll just say like what I feel like, what I thought it made me want to pause it.
No. We're just gonna leave it.
I think that it was sort of like at some point he is nostalgic and talking about a game that the kids used to play. where they would run through the field
Oh, that
and
makes
do
sense.
sort of like a game of tag.
Could be. And I think like part of what I did like about it though is the character there, Holden Caulfield.
Oh, I can't
Um,
remember that off your head.
yeah, he. I did appreciate him, like the feeling of not fitting in, or like you don't really have a place in society and stuff. Because I guess that was something that I did resonate through a lot of my youth and into my early adolescence, and feeling like I didn't really have a place. I wasn't chasing anything traditional. I kind of, yeah, I was like aimlessly wandering and looking for some kind of a purpose or a function in a world that didn't seem to have one for me.
Can I pause you for a second? I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
Because this is nothing like what I just said.
Okay, let's correct
I
that.
thought at some point that was what was said, but I haven't read it in a little while. So, the meaning of The Catcher in the Rye centers on the protagonist, Holden Caulfield's desire to protect children's innocence from the phony world of adulthood, which is funny based on what we learn about what he does. So he imagines himself as a catcher in the rye, saving children from falling off a cliff, which is a metaphor for losing their innocence. Yeah. Which, I swear to God, at some point, yeah, I don't think you should listen to me at all. Maybe it's just weird because I guess like it just didn't really stuck with me that much because of how blasé it was. Sorry,
Yeah.
go back to what you were saying because I just wanted to clear that up because that's just what I remember. I thought that I had read at some point, and I could be a little bit right because I just feel like it was at some point something to do with that kind of game as well.
Could be.
Go ahead.
But yeah, that makes a lot of sense given the, I guess, the overall theme and the message that I received from the book of, um, yeah, not finding a place that you feel like you fit in. Um, yeah, because I felt that through a lot of high school and like the public school system, that I never really had anything I was good at that I was interested in for like a career.
Yeah.
And I had a laugh because one of the top things we did this kind of a, what you call it, like a potential career, like um survey kind of thing. You know, they'd ask you a bunch of questions and then it would generate a list of like, here's 10 great careers for you to pursue. And one of the top ones was garbage man. Like, go around and pick up trash.
You know what? I don't know about you, but I have a client who has a son and he's 4 and he is obsessed with garbage. The garbage truck, the garbage bin. He has like 6 garbage trucks and what they do is actually they like cut up cardboard as the garbage for the trucks, and they also have written down the names of the recycling and the garbage men that come to visit on the certain day that they pick it up, and they go out and they watch them pick it up and they talk to them and stuff. It's crazy. So like, I mean, you might okay, that's weird because I don't think of you as that would be way too mundane for you.
Yeah. And it's not anything against garbage men.
Uh-uh.
There are some times when I think of a lot of mundane careers like that. And actually, this is a great Denzel Washington quote because he was garbage man in New York. And he talks about how much he loved that job. So I see there's a way where it works. But just feeling like there was something in me, like on the creative side, and saying, no, that's not right. And there was nothing on that list that felt like, hey, you should go out and be a freelance photographer and cinematographer. That'd be a great thing for you to go do. Um, so I just, yeah, from like where I am versus what school told me I should be, I'm really glad I never listened to school and what they told me I should be.
Well, that's a great example to any young people listening, if ever, that you don't have to do what other people fucking tell you that you should do.
Yeah. And not that I couldn't do it in the future.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know. If suddenly I can't do this job anymore, sure, great. I'll find something else. But it just felt like because I didn't fit into any mold of what school would tell me I should be, they didn't really know. So they're just kind of like, well, okay, what are some basic utility functions that you could provide? I'm like, well, you didn't take into account any other of my skills or abilities, and
Mhm.
you didn't encourage me to think creatively or, yeah, apply that in a way that, I don't know, maybe you don't see yet because we're not in the future. You're just basing that off of what's happening now. What do we need now? What are your like grades at and blah blah blahs? And I'm like,
Means nothing.
yeah, yeah, the world changes so fast. Um, so that's I guess how I identified with that Holden Caulfield character and feeling like, yeah, it is really frustrating, and you do just kind of want to run away and just chase pursuits of sin and pleasure because you're like, no one else is giving you that, right? Like, no one's giving you the opportunity to um, do what you naturally love. So you're like, well, I'm just gonna go, yeah, drink and bang hookers in New York. To borrow the plot of the story.
You know what, Jake, though, you also read a lot of like, they're not all, but you have some self-help books and you have some like astrology. You have, I'm looking at just a pile of what you have in here right now. I'm like, math for mystics. Ugh. Um, Math though. And I know it's not really the same thing, but math, whatever. You're very interested in the body and the mind and um, nonfiction stuff that I don't ever want to read because I don't want to know any of that stuff.
Yeah, you don't have to.
No, I know. Yeah. No. I'm just saying, like, that's stuff that like is around a lot that you have. So do you want to talk about that a bit?
Um, sure. I don't know exactly what to say about it, but
What makes
I guess
you interested in those types of books? I'm not talking about self help exactly, but like these, you have astrology, chakras, you have, s- I don't know what the writer's journal is, but you have like math shit, and you have the fire water, and you have other stuff, blah, blah, blah.
yeah, I guess the root of that interest comes from the fact that I find real life more interesting than made up stories. Like, sorry for the burp. Um, Spending so much time like through high school and then into film school and then going and working in films, so much of the focus is on fiction work, stories that people made up. And it's lovely, but it's also like just if you studied anecdotes of life, um, which I guess, or like parables, if we want to use sort of like a biblical example that people might understand, right? Where someone tells you a story, but there's a like a subtle kind of message about how you should treat other people or behave in society, right? The story itself isn't really the thing. You're supposed to receive some message out of it. right? So if you used an example of like, I don't know, if you went to a biblical one about uh, the Good Samaritan, right? Someone coming along a trail, finding somebody who's hurt in need of help. So many people passing by, passing by, passing by, but this one person, the Good Samaritan, stops and provides the help. The message there is that if you find somebody in need of help, you should stop and help them. But like reality of that, think of how many, uh, you know, drug addicted, unhoused people we pass by going through the city. And it's like, well, if you take that so literally, you should stop and help every one of them. But like, how many hours, days, years of time is that going to help you, or is that going to take from you in your life to help them?
What's this got to do with the books that you like?
Parables. So, I mean, like when we go into, so like when you use parables and you kind of speak in this very vague language and you use stories of example, I'm like, great, that's lovely, but it doesn't really give you practical day to day solution. It's like, okay, that's wonderful. Yes, I should have a mindset of trying to help people if I see that they're in need of something, and if I can provide a solution, great. But they don't set parameters around that, or they don't provide any kind of real um, anything really tactile, right? Because you're like, well, what should I actually do?
Okay.
Should I just give them a lunch and move on with my life? Should I sit and talk with them for hours? Should I give them a place to stay? Should, like there's so many other questions that arise out of this vagueness of parable, even with the catcher in the rye. Like, well, what should we do as a society with a character like this Holden Caulfield, right? Like, because he's kind of a pain in the thorn of society, but someone in need of purpose. And what I love about a lot of these nonfiction things is they they shift that focus, I guess, from outward to inward, and it helps me understand what are things that I should look at within myself. What are ways that I can improve my own behavior? What are things that I can do to improve, um, I guess, just my presence in situations? It's less about what can I do for somebody else and what can I do for myself so that I am somebody who is more capable to provide whatever is needed for somebody else, but also protecting myself from being taken advantage of or from giving too much of myself to someone who's not really going to reciprocate. Or I don't know, like it's difficult to explain in words because to me it comes across as like an energy exchange, right? Like if I help you out in some way, it's not that I expect you to return that to me, but I expect you to not continue to draw upon me for your well-being. It's like I can see, oh, you just need me to give you a little help with this, and then you'll be on your way and you can help yourself continue to grow, or you can pay that forward and you can help somebody else who's in need. And I think the vagueness of nonfiction kind of makes you feel like, well, I don't really know what to do now, because it's like sharing, I don't know, it's like listening to a friend tell a story of a friend and what happened to them. I'm like, ah, great, that's entertaining. It makes me think of things if I want to. But at the same time, it was just me kind of listening to a story of something that happened and there's nothing to do. So I guess
Yeah,
it's closer tied to action that I can take because it's more related to myself and I can only take action about
of course. You
myself.
can only react as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. A lot of the stuff that I also see within your library is, I mean, like you did have cancer, right? So a lot of the stuff that you have is not necessarily directed towards cancer, but it's like, how can I feel better within my body, and what can I do to make it better, kind of thing. Like, how can I understand my body? Which is cool. And that's just like, that's cool for you. And you can tell me what I should do with my body, but I'm like, I'm not going to read it. Um, yeah, yeah. And then you also like a lot of biographies
Hmm.
about people, which I don't really care. I think the last biography I ever read was Walt Disney. And I can't even remember that because I don't care about Disney anymore as much as I ever did. But that makes sense, what you just said, and what I see with regards to health wise and like what we can do to make ourselves better.
Yeah. And biographies tie in with just what I do for a living because what I love about going into different um, businesses or, yeah, just meeting different people who are doing different things. I feel like I'm kind of there doing the same thing, taking pictures, interviewing people, whatever. Like it can feel kind of the same, but what makes it different and interesting is learning about what other people are doing in their life. And like, uh, man, what's the word? Yeah, just generally hearing about what other people are doing in their life and contributing to the world because it's so different than what I do. And when you get to like, man, what's the words here?
I guess that's part of your work as well, as you, like you said, you document and you people watch. So being interested in maybe celebrities or whoever is going to help you kind of with your work at the same time.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, here's where I meant to go. Is it informs the way that I want to capture who people are and what they're doing because you understand how it contributes to something else that's bigger in the world. You know, especially when it comes to a lot of the like industrial fabrication or manufacturing side of things because I'm in a place where I don't or I'm in an industry where I don't really make a tangible thing that goes out and people purchase.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm like this intermediary of I provide, yes, this thing, these photos, these videos, these stories, but some that other person takes that and they go out and use it to sell whatever they physically create or the service that they physically provide. So it's kind of this weird intermediary space, but it allows me this opportunity to have like deep inside access to whatever people are doing. And I love just exploring that and finding out how people got into that or like what are the nuances of that I
Yeah.
would never understand because it's so easy to sort of blanket, you know, just look at the number of things that are on Amazon, number of cheap products, and you just sort of go, oh yeah, that thing, that thing, that thing. But without realizing the man hours that it takes for somebody to design that thing, put that thing together, or like refine the raw minerals that are going into creating the raw materials that are then being cut and shaped and formed into the thing, or design the software and write the code. And you're like, there's so many layers that's just baffling to everything. And it's fun to explore.
Yeah, so it's like a long spider-webbed explanation of the books that you have in this house. Because there's a lot of times where I'm like, are you ready to get rid of some of these? And you're like, no. And a lot of them are those things.
And I should say, I treat them as more reference books.
Oh, and it's totally fine.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't you get rid of them. Don't make me sound like a bad guy.
No, that's not it at all. But I don't want people to be under the illusion that I read them all front to back.
No,
100%.
yeah,
I'm like,
you
no, I reference them. And there's things that I look at. Like you talked about that Math for Mystics book. And I'm like, there's sometimes something comes up and I say, that sounds like it's in that book. And I go look it up because it talks about numbers or ways of counting things and what stuff might mean. And I just reference it.
Yeah, the only thing that I think about when I think of math, the Math for Mystics, is that what it's called?
Yep.
Book that I think is interesting is I'm pretty sure it's a lot of numerology, right?
Yeah.
And that is not the math that I ever tried to learn.
Yeah, and that's what's fun about it to me.
But I'll never read it.
Sure. But it's there if you ever want to look at it.
Oh, no.
And that's what I like about it. You know, that's why it's a book I'll never get rid of, because I think it's maybe irrelevant for 95% of the year. But for that 5% of the year, there's one little thing that kind of makes something click. And I go, aha, I understand this now.
Yeah. Jake's a very deep guy. Yeah. Yeah. I like stories.
Stories are cool.
Yeah. But maybe that's the end of the story right now.
Sounds like it.